Okay, so the two places where we struggled a little bit on the practice were finding the intercepts from a table. The thing that doesn't change, I know immediately the y-intercept happens at 0 for the x. So it's 0 comma something. I could put 0 in that box over here right now. So now the second part of this is be able to see the pattern. 32 goes with 22. So x is 32, y is 32. When y is 22, excuse me. When I come over here and I look at how things are counting, I'm going to take my calculator quickly and do 64 minus 48. Oh, that's 16. 48 minus 32, that's 16. So as I'm working with the x's there, I know that the x changes 16 for each time. So 16, I got to find out what y number goes with that. But I know this is minus 16. And I know 16 minus 16 gets us the 0 up there. And I ran out of mouse room, but whatever. Okay. So if I keep subtracting 16, 64 minus 16 is 48. 48 minus 16 is 32. 32 minus 16 is 16. 16 minus 16 is 0. I'll get to the x of 0 that I actually need. The y's, meanwhile, what's happening with them as we're going back to what's happening to them in relationship to that x. 12 plus 5 will be 17. Or I do 17 minus 12, it's 5. 22 minus 17, it's 5. So I know that the y's, for every 16 on the x, the y's are adding 5. And again, I'm working back to an x of 0. So what's 5 more? 27. Add 5 on to 27. Mental math or calculator. We get to 32. So our answer should be 0, 32. 6 of you said, yep, 0. 6 of you eventually said 32. And 0, 32 is our answer. Okay, the other place where we were struggling some, and I'm guessing we're just not taking time. There's two approaches. You either go to Desmos and you throw that in, and we're sweet at graphing these things. Everyone who did the graphing has passing grades. I don't recall seeing a person who did the graphing one who didn't get a passing grade. The algebra approach, all right, the y-intercept happens when x is 0. So I'm going to write the equation, but I'm going to plug in 0 for x. It's pretty good writing with the mouse. So right there, there's my x. I chose to substitute 0 for x because the y-intercept happens at 0 comma something. There's my minus 2. Close the parentheses. All right, mental math or calculator time. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. So I need to ask myself, how do I get y by itself? What's the opposite of minus 3? Everyone should say plus 3. If I add 3 to both sides, that's going to cancel out the negative 3. It's gone. Negative 10 plus 3, either calculator time or mental math time. 3 minus 10 is the same thing. We have more negatives, so our answer is going to be negative 7. So what's our y-intercept? It happened when the x is 0. It always happens when x is 0. And the y is negative 7 when we put a 0 in for x. Again, x comma y, that is what we are doing in math. This x causes this y. This x and y go together. Okay? For the x-intercept, now I'm putting in a y of 0. So right now I can type 0 in that right box. I know that's the answer. So I've got 0 minus 3 equals, and I'm going to do distributive property right away. 5 times x is 5x. Sorry, drawing with the mouse is a little bit slower. And 5 times a minus 2 or 5 times a negative 2 is negative 10. Again, that 0 is the y that I plugged in to find the x-intercept. All of us can solve equations. I've seen it. All of us have solved an equation at some point. So now I know negative 3 equals 5x minus 10. I want the x by itself. What's the opposite of minus 10? Plus 10. So I'm going to grab plus 10 right here. Calculator or mental math time. Negative 3 plus 10. There's more positives, or 10 minus 3 ends up being 7. What's left on the right side? 5x. What's the opposite of multiplying by 5? What cancels out multiplying by 5? Division by 5. Divide by 5. So my answer there, what x do I get? 7/5. 7 over 5. 7 divided by 5. Pretty sure you just type it in as 7 divided by 5 on Khan Academy, and it'll say you're correct. And that goes with a y of 0. Again, there's our x. There's our y. You're also welcome to go to Desmos, move around on the graph, find where the graph hits the y-axis. It'll give you numbers. Find where the graph hits the x-intercept. It'll give you numbers too. Make sure you understand that sometimes the repeating decimals on there come from fractions every once in a while. And let's see if my answers are right. 7/5 or 1.4 ends up being the same answer. So I got 0, negative 7, like I said, and 7/5 or 1.4, 0, like I said.